Three paths. Visualize first the refuge field, Bodhisattva field, and the purpose of this practice. Refuge field, visualize two parents on the refuge field, visualize the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you. And how you visualize them. They're like very affectionate parents, and imagine that you come home demoralized, and your parents are waiting there to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace. Bodhisattva field. Visualize two parents on the two sides, and all the family members around you, including your children, and all the other sentient beings, the local spirits, the animals, insects, the hungry ghosts, then the health beings, and the human beings, and the celestial beings. Here in Singapore, and in the world, in the Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe. And how you visualize them. Here you are the mother, and all others are like your children. And imagine they come home demoralized, and you are there to give full of affection, attention, and embrace. And the purpose of this practice is to activate the ultimate treasure of Buddha, the treasure of enlightenment, treasure of happiness, in the form of Buddha nature, which exists within each one of us. To activate this, given that it is mixed, it is blended with the metal defilements, like the gold mixed with the soil, the gold doesn't glow, it's not visible. Likewise, the Buddha nature, the perfect state of purity, perfect happiness, the perfect wisdom, compassion, when mixed with the metal defilements, is not visible. And how to get rid of this, separate this Buddha nature from the metal defilements? For that matter, we need to know the nature of the metal defilements. Metal defilements are two kinds, gross and the subtle. The gross one also referred to as the afflictive obscurations, the presence which stops us from achieving total freedom from suffering. And the subtle one also referred to as the cognitive obscurations, or the obscuration to omniscience, which stops us from achieving total enlightenment or Buddhahood, total awakening of this Buddha nature. And the afflictive obscurations, which is of three obscurations, which are of three kinds: quantum karmas, afflictions, and their corresponding active seeds. And all these three are rooted to the self-grasping ignorance. And on the other hand, the cognitive obscuration, the subtle stains, subtle inactive seeds of the afflictive obscurations. So these, we see that somehow they are everything, all the mental defilements, they boil down to the self-grasping ignorance and the subtle stains. And at times the subtle stains can manifest in the form of self-centered attitude. So in both cases, whether it's the afflictive, whether it is the self-grasping ignorance or the subtle stains of the afflictive obscurations, the remedy, final remedy, is the wisdom of emptiness. So depending on what driving force that you employ, if you employ the renunciation, just renunciation, and this wisdom of emptiness will at the most help you to get rid of the afflictive obscurations and make you achieve the state of the freedom from the fears of samsara, or it will help you to get the state of the nirvana, to get freedom from the miseries of samsara. And whereas if you eradicate the cognitive obscurations by employing the wisdom of emptiness and driven by the force of bodhicitta, grounded on the renunciation, it will eradicate all the mental defilements, including the subtle stains, thus taking to Buddhahood. So what we're doing here is to activate this wisdom of emptiness. For that matter, imagining that you are leading this, and all sentient beings are joining you, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're watching us. With their mind, let's turn to page 2 of the prayer book. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is afraid of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the Buddhas and of the hearers and Bodhisattvas, who through the knowledge of all leads here signification complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes souls helping migrate to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of omniscience, the subduer set forth the varieties having all aspects. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata and protector, to you are my prostrations. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum te shantatagato yavatat te sham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum te shantatagato yavatat te sham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum te shantatagato yavatat te sham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The cessation of the causes is well as taught by the great seer. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, we will turn to page 5, the second stanza. We will say this 3 times together, wholeheartedly. And this is the same stanza can be used for taking the aspirational Bodhisattva vow. And you can say this on a daily basis as many times. And if possible, wholeheartedly let your mind flow there. The seed of the bodhicitta is constantly going to be activated. So that way, when you actually practice bodhicitta one day, when you see that, okay, now I need to practice bodhicitta more intensely, systematically, with help of the 7-fold cause effect method and the equalizing exchange method, which involves 9 steps, then you see that the actual activation bodhicitta will become more swift within you. So this is the benefit. Okay, let's say this 3 times together and imagine that everyone is joining you in this. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues, all the pains. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues, all the pains. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues and all the pains. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Okay, let's read the three principal parts, three principal aspects of the part, page 9. I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. I'll explain as well as I am able the essence of all the teachings of the Conqueror, the path praised by the Conqueror's children, entrance for the fortunate who desire liberation. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones who are not attached to the joys of cyclic existence, who strive to make use of leisure and opportunity, and direct your minds to the path pleasing to the Buddhas. Without you, the craving for existence also binds pains. Thus from the outset seek renunciation. Reverse attraction to this life by reflecting on how leisure and opportunity are difficult to find and how life is ephemeral and without span. Reverse attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karma and its effects and the miseries of samsara. Contemplating thus, when you do not for an instant admire the splendors of cyclic existence and remain intent on liberation day and night, renunciation is then born in you. Renunciation, however, is not tempered by the pure mind of Bodhisattva, does not bring forth the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise ones generate an excellent mind of Bodhisattva, swept by the current of the four powerful rivers, tied by strong bonds of karma, sought to undo, caught in the iron net of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, born and reborn in boundless cyclic existence, ceaselessly tormented by the three miseries. Thinking of your mothers in this condition, generate the supreme mind of Bodhisattva. Although you train in renunciation of the mind of Bodhisattva, without wisdom which realizes the ultimate reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic existence. Therefore strive to understand dependent arising. One who sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena in samsara and nirvana and destroys all focuses of apprehension, heart that please the Buddhas. Appearances are infallible, dependent arising. Emptiness is understanding, that is trivial assertions. Analysis of the profound view is perfected. Further, my appearances refute the extreme of existence. Emptiness refutes the extreme of non-existence. When I understand that emptiness arises in the form of cause and effect, you are not captivated by few extremes. O my child, once you have realized thus the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination, and quickly reach their final aspiration. Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. Okay, we are on page 14, stanza 78. Okay, so last time what we did was that we were talking about the mindfulness, the four mindfulnesses. as Satipatthana, 4 mindfulnesses from from 2 different traditions. The tradition which has commonly been followed by all the 3 Buddhist traditions, like Theravada, the Chinese Mandarin tradition, Tibetan Buddhism. This is common to all the 3, and what is being explained here by Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra here is something which is uniquely practiced by the Mahayana practitioners. Okay, so it's a simple. Say the 4 mindfulnesses are mindfulness of the body. What? Mindfulness of body, feeling, mind, and phenomena 4. So these body, feeling, mind, phenomena 4, you then correlate what is common to all the 3 traditions. You correlate this with the 4 main points of the what? The 4 seals. What are they? Impermanence, suffering, emptiness, selflessness. So emptiness referring to the impurities or uncleanliness. Okay. So then the body associated with to be mindful of the body to be unclean, empty. Empty meaning empty of being different from the self, different from the self as the whole. And what's the next? The feeling, to be mindful of the feeling to be of suffering nature. Okay. So in fact, what we suggest is that because that the emptiness is one thing which requires intensive learning. Whereas, for example, the feeling, how the feelings are of suffering nature, right? Say the 3 kinds, feeling, the suffering, the 3 kinds of feelings, suffering, and the suffering change, and the pervasive condition suffering, the 3. So the first one, of course, we don't really need to reflect on. Of course, the meaning that how the suffering is the suffering, that we don't really need to, the painful experiences, feelings are suffering, we all know that. But the point is that it will be good if you can bring to light while you are not going through pain at this moment. While we are not going through pain at this moment. For example, say me. Right, okay, me, I'm healthy, Dorji, I'm healthy. But, okay, once in a while it'd be good if you can think about, okay, one day, no doubt, right? If there is a sudden death, that's different. Otherwise, if there is a slow, then illness is bound to be there. What kind of illness, we never know, right? We never know. Okay, even though I may live, okay, at the moment I'm 50, then for 55, 60, so still many years, right? We never know tomorrow. The last day may be tomorrow. We never know that. And don't think that, is so inauspicious. Don't think like this, right? So be courageous to think about this. So the benefit, eventually the benefit is there. If there is no benefit, what should you think about these things? There is a benefit, right? The more we think like this, then actually when the tragedy strikes us, we will not be shocked. When we are not shocked, our mind we can maintain the peace of mind, calmness of mind. With the calmness of mind, then you can think about emptiness, bodhicitta like this. Okay, now it is the final day. I should really think about bodhicitta. I should really think about emptiness. His Holiness the Dalai Lama oftentimes very clearly indicated that at the time of death, if you're able to think about bodhicitta, it is guaranteed that you're going to take to have a good, favorable life next time. Right? This is the real power. Power means transference of consciousness. This is the real the transference of consciousness, the power practice. So why not? So for that matter, we need to prepare ourselves that when the actual day comes, my mind should be calm, peaceful, and so forth. For that matter, so how can I guarantee that happens? So generally speaking, from your own experience, right? If you practice a little bit, say when you see the prospect of some difficulties tomorrow or after 1 week or after 10 days, you can see the prospect of that, then you can just bring it. Now, okay, what is that going to be like? Then at the moment you may feel a little bit of, the tension, your body may become a little tense, mind may become a little tense. And then when the actual day comes, you are not much affected. Right? You think you earlier thought that I was going to be so much badly affected. No, you can maintain the calmness. This is something which is very true. So why not? We try this and see how true that is. Once you experience it yourself, then you become very confident. So the point is that once in a while it will be good to just bring to a visualization as to one day surely that will happen to me. Right? Not just to you, to everyone. 200 years ago, right? Whole this world, nobody today was alive 200 years ago. 200 years ago, the Singapore for sure was very busy. India for sure was busy. America, Tibet, China, India, everywhere, very busy. But where are these busy people today? Not even a single person is left, 100% guaranteed, right? Everyone. Whether rich, poor, educated, uneducated, male, female, the young, old, everyone is gone. So likewise, there's going to be a day when none of these single 7 billion human beings will be alive on this earth. Right? Okay, if you can think of these at the moment, then when the day actually strikes us, you will not be shocked. When you're not shocked, your mind will be able to maintain calmness. In a calm mind, then you can think about bodhicitta, you can think about the emptiness. For wisest thing is, rather than worrying, wisest thing is to plan for the next journey. The next journey is a favorable journey, particularly with the wisdom of emptiness, bodhicitta, and praying that the Buddha Dhamma live long rather than I take a good rebirth. Instead of that, if you pray that may the Buddha Dhamma thrive in the 3 worlds, with this mind, if you die, no doubt you will meet Buddha. You will take a precious human birth and you will meet with the Buddha Dharma, no doubt. Right? Okay. So these are things that to be practiced. So the body to be unclean and the mind, the feeling to be miserable, feeling in the form of suffering, 3 kinds of feeling. Say the unpleasant feelings, of course, everybody identifies suffering, but see if you can recall the severe unpleasant feelings just now. While you don't experience it, you can bring them in your visualization and see what that is like. Okay, number 2. Then with this, the pleasant feelings, what we consider as pleasant feeling, how that is actually obeyed. How that is actually obeyed. So then you try to say say with your own experience, how because of the pleasant feelings you eventually end up into miseries. You eventually end up into conflicts, fights, jealousy, and so forth. How, these pleasant feelings are the trigger point of all this emotional, very corrosive emotional feelings, right? And if you don't have the experience, just look at others. Very simple. From there, you can take a big, great lesson. You can learn from there how the pleasant feelings, eventually they are actually the bait. Just by being the pleasant feeling itself is a bait. And then in the long run, it will lead you to the stress, fights, conflicts, jealousy, competition, then the tension, depression, so forth. Right? Number 2. Then the neutral feeling. How the neutral feeling, then in that case, we are to go more towards the emptiness concept. With the neutral feeling, so how we see the neutral feeling as objectively real. And then when you see the neutral feeling, your mind becomes passive. Right? With the pleasant feeling, mind becomes actively attached. With the unpleasant feeling, actively unhappy. When it's a neutral feeling, you become very passive, slow. Activity stops. So then the ignorance, the creeps in. Okay, and then but you're seeing the neutral feeling as something. Say what? Neutral feeling as objective real. Then the ignorance continues. Okay, so this is with the feelings. Then the mind. Mind is impermanent. Mind is impermanent, and impermanent 2 kinds, the gross and the subtle, and see how the mind changes momentarily. Besides this incredibly minute, the temporal segments of the mind, momentarily changing, there's no mind, right? And then this, you see the subtle impermanence of the mind. Then again, we see that many of the destructive emotions, attachment, aversion, so forth, they're quelled, they're cut down, toned down, and then find the phenomenon, so more precisely referring to the self and any other things which do not belong to the category of the first three, the body, feeling, and the mind. So when you see them, you will see them in the light of the emptiness or the selflessness. Okay, this is the common practice, a practice common to all the three traditions, right? And then see how much we can do it, how much we can. And if you can't really do it on a daily basis, right? And some they say that okay, on a daily basis you have to do like this. Morning you have to do like this. Afternoon you like this. That's what 24/7 you become like a Buddha. Right? Okay, we should be very, very honest. We should be very honest, right? Okay, I'll try my best to do it. Make this commitment. And then once in a while, don't forget it, once in a while, let's say, okay, now I have 2 days free, the weekend. This weekend, I'm more free. What I'll do is I'll do my, a retreat, 2-day retreat, 3-day retreat, right? And then long weekends, maybe like 4-day retreat, and so forth, right? And then and even if you have some other engagements like this, and then you make them, okay, this week, I'll try to think more. Whenever I get time, I'll try to think more about the body to be clean, body to be unclean, mindfulness of the body to be unclean, right? My own body, or without taking a shower, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Okay, likewise, then the peeling of the skin, what is inside there, right? And then about the other person also, think about this. Okay, one. And then they say the feeling as unpleasant, how? Again, the same thing which we already did it. So like this, just see that I will commit, okay, now this week, I will think more on the mindfulnesses. Right? And then try your best, because it's just 1 week. Then it becomes like, okay, this 1 week, and it's not that every day. Then it says that some of the great practitioners, they say that if you're overly enthusiastic, it's an indication that you're going to quit the practice altogether. Right? So this is what the great practitioners, they say. So therefore, don't be overly enthusiastic. So make it 1 week is fine. 1 week out of 365 days. 1 week is fine, right? 1 week, I'll think more. Not that 1 week, 10 hours I'll sit and therefore, no, don't be very realistic. Be very realistic. And then I'll be mindful. Whenever, okay, the daily practice I will do, and then I'll be more mindful about these things. Then these reflection of 1 week practice, 1 week, not really practice as such, 1 week, say, mindfulness. Being mindful of the practice of 4 mindfulnesses. This may take you to a very different domain of practice, very naturally. So if your practice is growing naturally, this is so good, so healthy, no side effects. Right? So good and so healthy. If naturally happening, naturally you are becoming more dedicated, and eventually you are even able to discard whatever like this, embrace, discard. It is not necessary. If you embrace more, it doesn't mean that you are getting away from practice. That's not true. Embracing for others, it says that for somebody who is seeking personal liberation, right, you have to keep things much less. Possess less possessions. Whereas for Bodhisattva practitioners, right? Say Bodhisattva, for example, if I follow Bodhisattva, okay, we all, at least in aspiration, we are doing that. Even that is so precious. Say, for a Bodhisattva practitioner, don't be afraid of keeping many things with you, right? But of the many things, okay, this also for me, this also for me, this monk is also for me, that monk is also for me, that monk is also for me, I have 20 monks, all these are mine. That is not the Bodhisattva's practice. This is not the indication. Okay, me, Oh, okay, this is good enough. This mark, this will be this given to by my teacher. This is so precious for me. I don't need anything else. But I have 20 marks, fine. And then somebody give me 30 marks is fine. 100 marks is fine. What for? In future, if I ever come across a person who is desperate in need of mark, and there are small children who are desperate in need of mark, you give them. Right? They're benefited. So for the Bodhisattva practitioners, there's no harm if you deliberately keep away all these things out of feeling laziness. Right? Oh, then my house is not clean. Right? Oh, no, anybody can come later on. Right? So somebody is going to be going to India, and the India, so some children are there, some NGOs are there. Oh no, I know it will be good, but my house becomes very dirty. My house becomes dirty. I don't really care much about the other people. That is not the Bodhisattva ideal, right? And then at times, okay, it's too much. Right? Okay, very practically, very beneficial, but off the track. Okay. In fact, for example, say one of my teachers, he has so many projects. What projects? Nothing for his own personal benefit. It's all about the very, very poor children, the very elderly people who do not have any medical facilities and so forth. This is amazing. This is amazing, right? And nothing really goes into one's pocket. They all go towards that direction. It's amazing, right? Okay, so therefore, the point is that this is a different point, how the Bodhisattvas should practice and how the personal liberation seekers should practice. The Buddha made it very clear. For the personal liberation seekers, they should have less possessions. For the Bodhisattvas, if they discard things simply because out of laziness or out of wanting your place clean, oh no, if I keep this, how long should I keep these things? Like this, then, and knowing that these things, I can. With these things, I have to be a little patient with these things, keep them with us, and finally, time will come when I can actually benefit so many people. Seeing these benefits, still you ignore these things and then go to keep yourself very clean house, right? That is not the encouraged for bodhisattvas. Okay, bodhisattva practitioners. Okay, with this mind. So this is how we can think of practically doing other, and it doesn't matter, right? Say okay, what are you doing? Okay, I'm doing wundo, right? Say the 100,000 times this, 100,000 times this. It's amazing, so precious. But it doesn't mean that if you don't do these things, then your dharma is not at all started. This is not true, right? Somebody who is so, let's say, I'm creating a scenario. Somebody who doesn't really care about even benefiting your neighbor who desperately is in need of help. You don't care about that. And you are spending all your time, energy on making 100 prostrations, right? And somebody who's actually not doing 100 prostrations, maybe 7 prostrations, 3 prostrations a day. And then actually benefiting people. There. Actually walking, putting your own effort, walk to benefit people, right? That is the actual prostration. Prostration is what? With this, there's a hardship there involved. And your hardship, which is the hardship, where you can't really benefit. Even somebody who's next door suffering, you can't benefit, and then spend so much of time like this. And on the other hand, somebody who actually walking many kilometers to benefit somebody there who are in desperate need of the benefit so forth, that the Buddhas will be so happy. That is the real prostrations, right? Real mandala offering. Mandala offering meaning to make the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas happy. So what will really make the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas be happy is that the beings are benefited by you. Okay, these are the practical aspects, particularly following the Bodhisattva path. And for the, say, the personal liberation part, okay, that's a very different, it's fine. You can have as less activities to do, less possession to keep, right? Things are very clean, it's fine, right? And Bodhisattva practice, at times it may become a little messy, it doesn't matter, right? Even the messiness of, out of compassion for others, not out of your laziness, right? Okay, then out of laziness it happens, then, right? And don't do so, I'm practicing Bodhisattva practice. Okay. So with this, having said this, now the point is that now the Bodhisattvas, the unique version of the practice of the four mindfulnesses is meditating on, say in other words, to cut all the mental defilements pertaining to the body, feeling, mind, and phenomena. So cut all defilements, not only attachment, all defilements. So that can best be done by meditating on the emptiness of these four things. So what is being taught here is the meditation, emptiness of the form, the body, emptiness of body, emptiness of feeling, emptiness of mind, and emptiness of phenomena. Okay, so the 78. Now emptiness of the body, which we already did earlier, emptiness of self, which we did earlier, is quite similar here. So subjecting the body to ultimate analysis. The body is neither the feet nor the calves, nor is the body the thighs or the hips, neither the belly nor the back is the body, nor is the body the chest or the arms. The size of the torso and the hands are not a body, nor is the body the armpits or the shoulders. The visual organs are not it, neither is the body the head nor the throat. So what then is the body? So this is, say, the subjecting the self to the ultimate, the body to the ultimate analysis, and we see that that body disappears. Or body here referring to not just the physical, what we identify as the body of that person, right? And then you can correlate this to the body of the flower. So mostly in relation to the body of the person, and that too, say, for the Shravaka practitioners or the personal liberation practitioners, mostly for the body of the person. But for the Bodhisattvas, body of the person plus the body of anything else, the flower, house, or anything else. Okay. 80, stanza 80. Now this is a little technical. What he's saying is that, say, okay, now look, this is little the technical and say the body, okay, say you know yourself, your body so well, right? Your body, which you know so well, the body, yes, it does exist. How does it appear to exist? Objectively or like a dream? And of course, objectively. That is self-grasping ignorance. So if that is self-grasping ignorance, which means the body does not exist the way it appears to me. Yes, it does not exist. Then, in which case, say, the body seems to have a very unique identity. The hands, each of the organs you remove, but the hand is not the body, but there's the body there. Of course, I can see this body there. So this body, if it exists objectively, how does it exist? It exists mixed with the parts, or it exists as okay. Let's say the body like this one. Same. Okay, this incense, the box as the body. And what is inside is the incense, right? So the box as separate from the incense is separate or mixed with the incense? Separate. Likewise, the body as some body which we see as, oh, this is my mother's body, this is my husband's body, wife's body, children's body, whatever. My body, this body, which we consider as very important. That body, is that something mixed with the parts of your body? Or the parts are separate and the body is like the box and the parts are like the incense inside, like this. Okay, both are not true. If both are not true, then where is the body? This is just illusion, right? Okay, let's see. The first one, if it is separate, if this body were located with the portion in all of these parts are there, and then on all these parts, then the body spreads. The body spreads there, all the parts. Then although the parts are located, then the parts, they say, okay, so let's say my hand, my hand spreads across all the fingers, the palm, the back, the nail, spreads all there. Then what about each of the fingers? The hand spreads in all these parts. Then what about each of the parts? The finger also spreads in these parts. So you go like this. So the point is that if you see the body is objectively real. Objectively real means from the object you should be able to find it. So where the hand spreads is the fingers, the palm, and the fingers, where does it spread? Is there something objectively there? Again we see it has smaller parts. And then to what extent can we go? The fingers, and the finger we can break this into the 3 segments. Each segment we can break into cells. Cells we can break into we can directly go into atoms, is fine. Otherwise we go into the chromosomes, cell membrane, so forth. Or we can go down to atoms. And atoms also electrons, protons. And electrons also go into the energy, right? So we see that there's nothing really there to say that finally this is the one which exists from the object side. Nothing is there. I'll say again has more parts. You can go ad infinitum. You can go ad infinitum. There's nothing there from the object to say this exists objectively. Right? Nothing is there. So it says, then although the parts are located in its own parts, where are the subparts in turn located? You keep doing like this, you will never find one part as a particle, which finally says that this is the objectively existent phenomenon. You will never find that. Okay, 81. And if a body itself in its entirety, no, it's not like the body spreading all over. The body, what I call is the body, my body exists in my hand, my body exists in my heart, lungs, like this, each of them. Then, just as there are so many parts, there should be so many bodies with the same person. 81. And if a body itself in its entirety were located in the hands and so forth, entirety, total, complete, in the hand, in the feet, heart, lungs, each part of these has the complete body, then there are so many bodies were located. And if 81, and if a body itself in its entirety were located in the hands and so forth, there would be as many bodies as there were hands and so forth. They were the parts. 82. Now this body, when you subject this body to look for the body to see if it exists objectively, how should we do that? To see if the body exists, objectively. How should we examine it? Hey. Okay, so to see if the body exists objectively or not, so how should we see that? Go closer, very good. What we said, Aranigarjuna said, what is the stanza? We said it 3 times. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? You're getting it? So we have to go closer to the object. Going closer to the object, what we'll see thin skin, right? Which is not this attractive body. Then behind that is a fatty tissues, is even more terrible. Fatty tissues. Then go inside the muscles, cartilages, then the skeleton, right? And then what? Heart, lungs, liver, skin, the spleen, then the all these parts, right? None of these is what we earlier saw as a body. So what is it? It disappears. Okay. So with this analysis is known as ultimate analysis. When you subject the cell to ultimate analysis, 82. As the body does not exist outside or inside. So outside meaning what is visible as the outside hand and so forth. So there we don't see this the body. Now inside meaning some essence. There must be some essence. You remove what is not the body, right? There must be some essence inside. No essence inside. Nor exists outside or inside. How could the hands and so forth possess the body? Then if it is not there, you subject this self, you subject this body to this analysis, ultimate analysis, the body disappears. If it disappears in this analysis, so where does it exist? In the parts? No, the whole, when you subject the whole to the ultimate analysis, whole disappears. What is left? Only the parts are left. The whole disappears. So how can these parts, like the hands and so forth, possess the body? How could the hands and so forth possess a body? It does not exist separately from the hands and so on. How could it possibly be existent? So therefore, how can this body exist objectively? This answer. It doesn't mean that the body does not exist. It simply means how could it possibly be existent objectively? Okay. 83. Thus a body is not truly existent but if it is not truly existent, then we are seeing the body, we are seeing the person, we are seeing myself, my body, we are seeing this. How am I seeing this? It says, thus a body is not truly existent because of ignorance. Okay. Okay. Think of yourself. Can you see your own body? Right? So when you subject this body to ultimate analysis, what happens to this body? What you call as my body. What happens to this? It disappears. You see the emptiness of this body. But then when you come back, you see the body once more. So this body, see means perceive. It's a perception taking place, but going towards the object, it disappears. Right? Perception is taking place where? On the subject or on this object? On the subject. On the subject, the perception taking place. On the object is not there. So therefore, we call it the mere perception. The mere perception. Yet this mere perception is not like imaginary. Because in the imaginary, dependent origination does not apply. So whereas this mere perception, the dependent origination applies. Right? On the basis of the color of the skin, we say my body has this color. On the basis of the size of the bodies, we say this is my size. On the basis of the distinction, the body, we say I'm a female, I'm a male. All these distinctions are made on the basis of the characteristics of the body, right? So therefore, by dependent, so in this mere perception, what is actually governing this perception is what? Dependent origination. Whereas with the imaginary, there is no dependent origination governing it. This is distinction. So with this, it's just, and then is this perception. Who's creating this perception? My mind is perception. What made you to create this perception? Why don't you perceive? Why don't you create a divine perception rather than, the impure perception? Because of the mental defilements. Which defilements? Ignorance. So our ignorance is responsible for making me to create this perception on the basis of the dependent origination. So it says 83. Thus a body is not truly existent, but it still exists how? Because of ignorance, the mind perceiving the body in hands and so forth arises. Like the mind perceiving the man in an effigy, because it is molded in the shape of a man. So, say, when from a distance you see an effigy, oh, there's a man there. You think that there's a man there, right? So, that is not a man. It's out of your delusion that you're seeing the effigy to be a human being. Yes, no? It is out of delusion. Likewise, it is through our delusion that we are seeing our body, ourself, Singapore, right? And what? The malign, and then also what is that? The garden by the park, garden by the bay. We're all out of this, we are seeing like a dream. Dream is created. In the dream, if you say that, hey, you're dreaming, you will say that, no, it's not dream, it's real. And then when you really go to the garden by the bay, you say, oh, no renunciation. Right? Actually, this is like a dream. Literally, it is actually created by your mind. Right? With this, just go there once. Go there once, right? And tell yourself, okay, how does this garden by the bay appear to me? So beautiful. Objectively or like a dream coming from my mind? No, objectively. Okay, then sit there, and then close your eyes not close your eyes, it doesn't matter, just sit by yourself and think about, go closer to this object. Remember what Aranagarjuna said, if the mirage were to be water, what knows closer but the mirage see water? Go closer there, and then see, then you slowly see that all these things, the beautiful the flowers, they are nothing but made of the what? The cells. And the cells are made of the what? The cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, chromosomes, the DNA, RNA, and the molecules, electrons, protons. Okay, now what is there? It's just filled with billions of electrons, protons, neutrons. That's it. Where is this garden by the bay? Where is it? It's not really there. Okay, just stop analyzing it that way. Again, the garden by the bay appears. No doubt appearance is taking place, no doubt. But I've already realized, going close to object is not there. From the object is not there, appearance is taking place, 100% appearance is taking place. Now, two things. Appearance taking place, from the object is not there, 100% is not there. Right? So therefore, this appearance is a mere appearance. Mere appearance. Just like a very shallow thing coming on my mind. Right? Mere appearance. For example, say when you have if you put on blue glass, a pair of blue glasses, and with this you look at the Mount Kailash, you see the Mount Kailash blue out there. Blue out there. And if you know that the snow can never be blue, snow is always white, then you see that what I'm seeing there is illusion. Right? It's just here actually. What is actually coming here is what I'm seeing there. That is my illusion. Right? Okay. Likewise, the garden by the bay, what is coming here is just, I'm seeing there this illusion. It's just a perception. Beyond the perception is not really there. And yet, with this perception, what is happening? The dependent origination operating. Not on the object, just in this perception, appearance. On this dependent origination operating. So who created the perception? My own mind. Which mind? Ignorance. Like the dream. Right? Okay. 84. For as long as the conditions are assembled, the figure is seen as a man. The figure meaning the effigy, right? As long as the effigy is designed the conditioned to look like the human being, you continue to see that like a human being. As long as our condition of the ignorance is there, we'll continue to have these perceptions coming, right? And these perceptions then create all the problems in us: sickness, aging, death, tension, stress, depression, dissatisfaction. All these things happen. Okay. The page 16. Likewise, for as long as there are conceptions over the hands and so on, they are seen as the body. For as long as the conceptions, meaning conception of objective existence, conception of objective existence over the hands and so on, they continue to see as a body. Okay. Now, similarly, because of being its composite of fingers, now say the body is not really there. Just the hand, the feet, the stomach, the spleen, the kidney, spleen, the heart. Okay, so these parts of the body, similarly, even each of these parts, similarly, because of its being a composite of the fingers, hand, for example, hand is also not really there. Again, seeing this as a hand is also illusion. Like seeing the body, seeing the garden by the bay, like illusion, even this hand is also illusion. Not that the body disappeared, but hand is left. Even the hand is also illusion, because hand is made of fingers and so forth, right? And none of the fingers hand. None of the nail is the hand. So it says that now you go down, you break it down, smaller. Okay, 85. Similarly, because of its being a composite of, because it's referring to the hand, being a composite of fingers, where is the hand? Even the hand disappears. Where is that finger? Even this finger will also disappear. Where is that finger? As it is composed of joints. Finger is made of the joints. And the joint also, like a joint, when broken down into its own parts, then even the tiny parts of the joints are part 86. Part as well, through breaking it down into particles. Likewise, this is the particle. Now finally we are left with the particles. Even the particles will also disappear. Likewise, is a particle for its direction. Particles, even the tiny particle has the directions east, west, north, south. top down. The directional paths also, because of latent paths like space, they as well do not exist. We see that you keep going like this, you will see that nothing really can be picked up from the object. Particle can be picked up and say that this is what exists objectively, because it is just illusion created on the basis of its own paths. It will go ad infinitum. Nothing's really there to pick up and say that it exists objectively. Okay, in case if there is something to be picked up and say that this is something which exists objectively, it should be a pathless particle. Pathless particle, yet pathless particle is rejected. Pathless particle is rejected. Okay, 87. Therefore, what wise would be attached to a bodily form that is like a dream? And since a body does not exist that way as objectively, then what is a male and what is a female? You're getting it? Okay, this is a very powerful meditation. Very powerful meditation. Okay, just this would be very good. Think of yourself as a boy, girl, other people, boy, girl. Right? First, if possible, do it in your own room. Do it in your room, right? Sit by yourself, and then do reflection, right? So when the other people are cut off from you, physically cut off, then you can do the meditation more easily, right? Just see yourself. Okay, with this, I would say that I'm sure Sonamla has the NASA company, the thing where the skin, right? Skin, it is being zoomed in to see, to go to the level of the particles, the the atoms. So say the skin zoomed in, then the cell membrane, the cracks, first the cracks. So the hand skin, which is so tender, right? Which is so tender, it's not so tender now. Right? Okay, very tender. Okay, you zoom in, it's no more tender, it's hairy. Zoom in, even this hairy is also illusion, is cracks there. And then zoom in, you will see the partition, the cell membrane, partition, the cells, they are, say the compartmentalized, separated by the cell membranes. You zoom in, the nucleus, cytoplasm, then zoom in, then the chromosomes. Okay, chromosomes are not at all beautiful. Chromosomes, they are like snake, right? Very repulsive to look at. And then chromosomes also, even this repulsive perception is also illusion. You go in, you see the nucleus, say the molecules and the atoms. Atoms are not beautiful, they are not ugly, right? It's just neutral. Okay, so the initial beautiful appearance, beautiful appeal also disappears, seeing the chromosomes. Then the very repulsive feeling arises. Then seeing the atoms, even the repulsive feeling also disappears. With the same object gives rise to three different perceptions, thus giving rise to three different emotional reactions. Right? Same object, this skin, this object. This object, who see this as a very tender skin. I remember at that point I was, I think, in my 30s or maybe late 20s. I could remember how my skin was when I was 7 years old. I could remember that. So that late 20 means it was already not nice as compared to 7 years old, the skin texture. So somebody who was maybe like 10 or 10 years older than me, seeing my hand, say, oh, you have a nice hand. Okay, he said it. You have a nice hand. My hand is, he described his own hand differently. Okay, he said it. So another point is that, let's say this hand. Oh, he said, it's very appealing. First, the object gives rise to a particular texture, nice. And emotional reaction is very appealing. One. Then you go, the same object, you go deeper, then you see the, what? Chromosomes. What is there? Where is this nice? It disappears. It's very scary to look at. The cracks, very repulsive to look at. The cracks. and the chromosomes very repulsive, look like snakes, right? Okay, so appearance changes, and then the emotional reaction changes, right? The appeal disappears, and then you become like no, right? Feeling of repulsion arises. Then go further, then you see the atoms, then even this repulsion disappears. Just the very innocent atoms banging each other, right? Then what's your emotional reaction? Okay, repulsion also disappears. So the same object gives rise to three different perceptions. Because of three different perceptions, three different emotional reactions. First, attachment. Number two, aversion. Number three, neutral, right? Okay, so this is how our perceptions finally decides your emotional reactions. If you can change the perception, your emotional reactions can be changed. It is for this reason that the Jesu Marpa, the teacher of Jesu Milarepa, Jesu Marpa, so he came to India several times with so much hardship, and it is said that he had 108 gurus. Jesu Marpa had 108 gurus. Of the 108 gurus, it is described that he had 13 of them had such an influence on his life that his perception of the world can be changed. The 13 teachers had that influence on his life to change the perception of the perceptual world for him. How? Say the perception, which seems so nice, appealing, so forth, they are just shattered and the whole perception changes. So, the 13 teachers. And then of these 13 teachers, Jesu Naropa is considered as the principal teacher. Okay, this is related to the changing the perception and thereby changing your emotional states. And then when you see that there's nothing really there from the object side, right? Then you are not affected. When it's appealing, when it's repulsive, when it's neutral, nothing is really affected. Knowing that after all there's nothing there from the object side, you become so confident. So this is how the perception changes and your mind becomes very stable and not affected. When your mind is not affected, sound of a clap, right? So external factors, internal factors, you are never affected. So external factors, however strong, the sound stops. Sound of the misery stops. So this is how we control we free ourselves from the fears of life. Okay. So it will be good. So the point that I'm sharing with you here is that when you say in your own room, just sit by yourself and think about, say, what am I? Start from yourself. What am I? I'm made of this body. This body is made of the different parts, hands and so forth. And these parts are made of the cells, and cells are made of the molecules, and the molecules are made of the atoms. We can go further. We can stay here. That's good enough. So just what am I? I'm just millions of atoms. Where is this boy? Where is this girl? No. Right? Boy and girl is just an illusion. Male and female is just an illusion, right? Okay, then you do it more often. Then this experience will become more and more stable. Right? Once it becomes more stable, then you can do it on other people. Right? Don't let other people know that you're doing this. Just do it. Just do it, right? Somebody passes by, or a boy passes by, or a girl passes by. Think of the atoms. Where is this boy? Where is this girl? It's just illusion. It's just atoms, a bunch of atoms there. None of the atom is a boy, none of the atom is a girl, right? Where's the boy? Where's the girl, right? It's just a purely illusion, right? Okay, this is extremely the beneficial meditation. And this is a fact. This is not what we are fabricating. Keep this in mind. It's just not just the fabricated, the exercise. This is a fact that we are discovering. We live in the world of illusion. We see the illusion is real, right? And then on this basis, if you really see everyone else is just a bunch of atoms, right? We will never say the same. Okay, I will not go too much. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. Fine. Sorry. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. Then, if you go too much, then from tomorrow onwards, nobody will come. Nobody come with the hair comb, right? No need to comb the hair. It's just a bunch of atoms, right? Right? No need to take shower. It's a bunch of atoms, all right? What the body stinks, it's just atoms going out. Okay. Now, is this a good or bad? This is very good. Very good. But why bad? Why bad? Are you following, say, personal liberation practice or Bodhisattva practice? If you're following personal liberation practice, don't stay in Singapore, right? Go somewhere in isolation, right? Just do this, and who cares? It doesn't matter, as long as you don't become sick, right? Don't become sick, and then not necessary to comb hair and put yourself nicely, right? Okay, this brand of cloth, that brand of cloth, like this. No need. It's just the waste of energy, right? It's fine. Whereas if you are following the Bodhisattva path to benefit other people, right? Other people should look at you and they should see you nice. If they don't see you nice, they will not follow you. They will not follow you, right? So therefore I tell people, there are some of the girls, for example, in Tibet house, some of the girls, then after following to Dharma, earlier they come with the, okay, I'm going too much. What is this black part? What do you call it? Huh? Mascara, right? Okay, not really mascara. What is this line? Eyeliner, right? They come with the eyeliner. So everybody does. And then coming to Tibet house, they become a dharma, everything's atom. They realize that they all slowly finish their mascara. And slowly they finish their eyelining. And slowly they finish even the beautiful earrings, they're gone. Right? And slowly, even the clothes, they become so dirty. Yeah, very dirty. So the first thing that I have to tell them is that, amazing, I really rejoice in your Dharma practice. I really rejoice. I really rejoice in your Dharma practice. I really rejoice. But, right, say, somebody like you, a young girl, somebody like you, right? So, coming to Tibet house, then look at this, they learn a lot about Buddhist philosophy, illusion-like, atoms, they learn all these things, right? And then the other person expected so much, right? And suddenly you see a very dirty girl there. Oh no, right? Right? Okay, nice talks. Then there's the first and the last, right? No coming to Tibet house, no coming to Buddhism again. Yeah? So I tell them that, okay, I know you are not interested in these things, it's fine. But what you are following is you are following the Bodhisattva path. You are going to be a role model for many people, right? They see you, they should be feeling so impressed. Wow, so nice, right? And then you meet and you talk about atoms, molecules, right? Then they can go into that, and then later on they may also again start wearing dirty clothes, right? And then you have to advise them, right? You have to advise them, don't be on dirty clothes, be nice, because what you're doing is for the benefit of other beings, not just for yourself, right? For benefit of other beings, they should see you as a role model. They are not the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. If the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, then they don't need you, right? They need you means somebody who's a very basic, who's in a very mundane, ordinary thinking, where, right? Oh, this scent is nice, this is a nice scent, right? Okay, this mascara is nice, right? This jewel is nice, right? These people, they come, not the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they don't want to come to you. Somebody who's so basic, they have to come to you. So what they admire is a very mundane admiration. That you should have. They should be able to see that mundane admiration in you. Having seen this, then they will sit with you. Right? Okay, if I become like her, there's no problem. My family will not have a problem with me. Otherwise, I go with the dirty clothes. My family will, what happened to you? Going to Tibet, what happened to you? Right? Okay. So this is way, and in this connection, I always tell people, also like this, say, to be vegetarian, non-vegetarian is purely individual business. It is not anyone else's business. And somebody, as I said earlier, of course, even if you're not vegetarian, if you have admiration for others who are the vegetarian, this is so good. And somebody who's vegetarian, very aggressively condemning the non-veg, this is too much. This is too much. Finally, your job is not to make other people distance from dharma by being very aggressively, no, they are so non-compassionate, like this. Then, okay, they feel, sad. When they feel sad, they will not want to come to you. Right? And what are you doing? What are you saying? No dharma, you're not into dharma, no compassion. Which means, what are you doing is compassion part. Okay, which means I'm not fit for compassion. The people run away from that. This is very unskilled, very unskilled. So therefore, even if one is vegetarian, you deliberately choose vegetarianism because of compassion. It's amazing. But don't really forcefully impose on others. Don't do that. It is not really helpful. So the Buddha taught one of the greatest teachings for the Bodhisattvas is to be skillful. Skillfulness. This is so important, right? Okay, so the point is that, said, if somebody turns to vegetarianism, it's amazing. It's amazing. Of course, you can give information. Give information, don't force. Give information, right? Because people can think. With the information, many times people don't get the information, because of which they don't know what to do, what not to do, and so forth. When they get information, then people can change. If they change on their own through giving information, this is so good. Once you turn towards vegetarian, what I would suggest is make sure that you don't neglect your food. Why I'm saying this is that if you neglect the food, okay, now earlier times I really enjoyed the parties because of the chicken tandoori, because of the what? Steak. What, steak or steak? Steak. Because what else? KFC. Because of KFC. Now there's no fun for food. Okay, just I eat for the sake of eating. Okay, I don't eat, it's fine. There's no fun in food. And then your body becomes weaker. Then you end up in hospital. Right? And the people say, hey, you turned to vegetarian. No, don't do a vegetarian. Look at this girl. Right? Look at this girl. So she was so strong when she was non-vegetarian. Right? Now she turned to vegetarian in just like 3 weeks, 3 months. 1 year, she became such weak, hospitalized. Right? Don't become, otherwise you will become like her. Okay, you become very bad example for somebody to turn towards vegetarianism. So therefore, whenever you do something good, make sure that you keep yourself fit, fine, nice, right? This is very important. Okay. 88, stanza 16. Okay, page 16, stanza 88. Next is the selflessness of next is the mindfulness of the feeling. Now the mindfulness of the body is done. So to see how the body is empty of objective existence. Now the feeling, how the feeling is empty of objective existence, right? Okay, this is uniquely about the Bodhisattva practitioners. Okay, how the feeling is empty of objective existence. In this connection, what is being spoken of here or taught here is first the nature of the feeling. The nature of the feeling per se. Feeling per se, how that is empty, number one. Number two, how the cause of the feeling is empty of objective existence. One, how the feeling per se is empty of objective existence. Number two is how the causes of the feeling are empty of objective existence. When you see the causes empty, then to see the emptiness of the feeling is easy. Then number 3 is the object of the feeling. What the feeling perceives, the object of the feeling to be empty. Next one is the subject of the feeling to be empty. The first, the feeling per se to empty objective existence. Then the cause of the feeling to be empty of objective existence. Then the object of the feeling to be empty of objective existence. For example, say, I feel so happy, I get a very pleasant feeling by looking at this flower, right? So what's the object of this feeling? The flower. Right? The flower triggered me the pleasant feeling. So likewise, the object of the feeling to be empty of objective existence. When you see that this object, for example, let's say, okay, say because of the TPC, right? TPC here, and then maybe very likely, right? Some of you might have met only last year when I came here, right? Now coming here, meeting only, right? Say last meeting would be the last meeting. Some of you, among you, maybe last time, 1 year ago, right? Okay, so because of TPC, the discussion group happening, because of which, then again you come together, you come to see each other now after 1 year. Possible? Okay, so there, let's say that, okay, now you see, let's say that, okay, people who are like-minded, we're all here, right? Usually when I go to home, my relatives, my brother, my sister, the husband, my wife, my this, my dad, they always will say, you spend so much time in the dharma, right? You're not doing so much of your job, you're not so focusing so much on the family. This problem is there. Okay, so let's say now here, no, we are all like-minded people. All like-minded people together, you feel happy. Okay, so say you're very happy, at ease. Imagine, suddenly you see that everybody disappeared suddenly. You are left by yourself. What's the feeling? Huh? So much of fear will come to you, right? So likewise, object, the flower, which seems to be so nice and beautiful, and then because of which a pleasant feeling comes to you. Suddenly, if I see that this flower is not really objectively there, it's like a dream, it's like a spooky ghost, right? It's not really there, just beyond the thought, beyond what the appearance that comes to my mind, nothing really is there, right? Your emotional reaction is going to be very instantly. The earlier feeling of the appeal will disappear. You getting it? Okay. So this is where the object, by seeing the emptiness of the object of the feeling, how we can subside the feeling. Then you see the subject, the subject feeling per se. Say, I'm feeling a very pleasant feeling now. Then I think of this pleasant feeling. So the mind is the subject, and the feeling becomes the object. Or I'm feeling so low. Lonely. Okay, how many, did it ever happen to you? Sometimes you feel so low, for no reason. You feel so low, so gloomy, so depressed. Does it happen sometimes? How many of you don't have that experience? Just raise your hands. Oh, yes, it's all of us. Okay, when that happens, then observe a mind. Observe this feeling. What is this feeling like? The very unpleasant, heavy, very gloomy feeling. What is that feeling? Just observe it. When you observe this feeling, your feeling, the gloomy feeling, becomes the object, and the mind observing it becomes the subject. You're getting it? So, see, by seeing that, the subject, what is the subject like? Even the subject which is observing the feeling, even that is empty. Object of the feeling per se, the flower which makes me this pleasant feeling, this is also empty. The feeling which is responsible for the seeing the feelings object real subsides. Okay, so these are the four things by which the meditation, the mindfulness of the feeling is taught. Okay, 88, page 16, stanza 88. So that is now stanza 88 down till 92 is the nature of the feeling per se, how the feeling per se is empty of objective existence. If suffering exists absolutely, okay, so what is being taught here is little technical, and if possible, what I would suggest is that if you can learn how to meditate on the emptiness of the mind, which is so important. If you learn how to meditate on the emptiness of the mind, right, which we did last time, right, there are several ways by which to do it. meditation on the emptiness of the mind. Because what really bothers us is when you go through anxiety attack, right? When you feel anxiety, when you feeling low, sometimes feeling so, say you have a little bit of the conflict with your husband, with your wife, with your father, mother, and then with your job, everybody. It's so like all these conflicts happen together sometimes, yes? Sometimes does it happen? It's so that everything is happening together simultaneously, one after the other, right? Say I have a little problem with say somebody, right, with someone, and then naturally if I have a little bit of say conflict with somebody like this, and then when I hear I cannot smile, right? So therefore my fall is my face is very, very body. The other person looks at me, what's wrong with you? What did I do? Right? And when you say, when the other person tells me, what did I do? Right? I feel unhappy, he's unhappy with me. And then my face becomes even more stern. Right? And then I go to the third person, what happened to you? I did not do anything bad to you. What did I do? Right? And then you tell the other person, I didn't do anything, and he's so angry towards me. No, the poor guy was actually, say, feeling so low because of this problem, and could not smile here. And you think that I'm angry towards you? Oftentimes this is what happens. So therefore, when somebody for no reason does not smile at you and so forth, instead of feeling that, oh, why? And good morning, and no reply. Right? And then maybe, good morning. Right? What did I do? Don't think like this. Don't look at things from your angle. Okay, what might happen to her? Right? She might have gone through some difficulty at the family, this problem. Hey, Chen, any problem with this girl? Did you hear about anything, the family problem, so forth? Right? You study like this, and then very skillfully try to console the person rather than, I didn't do anything. Right? This person showing, for no reason, showing anger towards me, not speaking to me. I didn't do anything. Right? No, this is not how we behave. Right? Always try to look at things from dependent origination. This is origination. This origination is something. This origination is by dependence on many other factors. What are the other factors? Explore. Just as in your case, you have this problem, that problem, so forth. When you have, when you have little difficulty with two people, then with the third person, automatically you cannot smile. Right? So this must be the same thing happening to the other person also. Right? If you think like this, then many problems can be solved. Okay. So the point is, why I'm saying this is that we must learn how to meditate on the emptiness of the mind, because all these unpleasant feelings, the tragic experiences we are bound is not that, some people, unfortunate people, they go through the tragic experiences and we are freed. No. Anytime we can be in the next row. Anytime, we never know that, right? Worst of the tragic things can happen to us. So for that, the best panacea to heal the problem is the meditation on the emptiness of the feeling. So emptiness of feeling is a part of the mind. So if you learn how to meditate on emptiness of the mind, then you can apply this to emptiness of the feeling. So this would be the greatest antidepressant medicine, right? The greatest of the antidepressant medicine, right? To quell the mental unease. When you see that this mind, which is going through such a depressing situation, you see that even this mind is not really there. It's just like illusion. When you hit it, instantly your mind will be uplifted. Instantly, you won't believe. The heaviness will instantly it will transform into lightness. Your mind will instantly change to lightness. You getting it? Okay. So the heaviness is coming because of the cognitive one way of cognitive perception of object. The cognitive side. Something wrong with the cognitive side. If the moment you rectify this cognitive side, the accompanying feeling will be instantly changed. So when you see the things are so objectively real, and so gloomy, objectively gloomy, your mind is dragged down. The moment you see that it's empty of objectivity, right? What dragged you down was seeing the situation as objectively gloomy, objectively depressing. The moment you see that the objective is empty of objectivity, of the emptiness, you see that is empty of the objectively depressing and gloomy state of the mind. When you see that, instantly your mind will be uplifted, right? Instantly. This is so precious. And if you can deal with yourself with this kind of meditation, then no need for all these antidepressants. And antidepressants, and of course, what I would suggest is that even if you are to take antidepressants, what I would say, make sure that you go to a good psychiatrist, not just to any psychiatrist, because psychiatrist meaning the medicines can have a heavy toll on your body, right? This is very important point. Okay, even if you have to depend on antidepressants, make sure that you say through your friends, look for a good psychiatrist, right? Even if the person may be a little more expensive, it's worth it. Otherwise it can destroy you. Yes.
For people who have got lung disease, it's more like a physiological problem and meditation.
Say, would you speak on the mic?
Kushila, based on your explanation, my question is for people who suffer from lung disease, they are not advised to do meditation. Therefore, would such meditation that you described just now suitable to heal people who has got lung disease?
Okay, so this is where we really need to be skillful. I said it very slowly to make sure everybody heard it, right? Okay, why I'm saying this? Psychiatrist, choose a good psychiatrist. And who said that meditation will be harmful to your lung? Who said it? Right? This is the question. Who said it? Good one? Or a mediocre one? Or a bad one? Who said? Somebody must have said it. And that person, is he a Buddha? Bodhisattva? Gate? Before Gate? Or hopelessly Gate? Just check it. Simply because somebody said it doesn't mean that it is true. Examine always. In fact, just afternoon, I had a meeting with one person, and I was so impressed by this psychiatrist of this particular patient. This psychiatrist, in fact, this is actually my approach. My approach is that anyway, my table, and I don't know how you would deal with that. Tibet house, my office, my chair, and the next chair is for the mentally sick person. So this is where I meet with all the people who have difficulties, the psychological, and the mental health issues. I'm meeting with those people. So my approach, the first approach is to see what degree of the severity of the problem. If the problem is very severe, I would suggest them to go to a good psychiatrist first. Good psychiatrist, right? Good psychiatrist. And then make sure that good psychiatrist, not just meet a psychiatrist. No, psychiatrist can kill you. Right? Because I know so many situations, psychiatrists, really hopeless psychiatrists are there. They can really kill you. They can destroy your liver. They can destroy your kidney with all this heavy medication, right? They can really kill you. They can really make you numb. They can just put you in the hospital, in the bed. Unless you want to sleep for long, right? then they can really put you like this. So therefore, psychiatrists, make sure that you are in the hand of a good psychiatrist, a very good psychiatrist. One. Then, a sensible psychiatrist will never give you medicine throughout your life. Will try to make you independent of the medicines. Good, sensible psychiatrist, right? Okay. Now, somebody who advised that for long, no meditation. Just check this person who said for long, no meditation. Who's the person who said it? Is that person doing meditation emptiness? Doing meditation bodhicitta? Doing meditation breathing meditation? What kind of meditation this person is doing? Very likely zero. Very likely zero. Without the experience of meditation himself or herself, how can the person decide? One. Now, person who is so intellectual, instead of meditation compassion, meditation emptiness is more recommendable. Some person who is so much into emptiness, becoming so emotional like this, right? Not so interested in the philosophy. Don't force philosophy. It will make the person more sick, right? Direct him or her towards the compassion practice. And somebody who is more into the solitude, wanting to be more by yourself. For them, not so interested in the philosophy, not so interested in compassion, teach breathing meditation. There are so many varieties of meditation. In the first place, somebody who said, for long don't do meditation, just check, without saying that he's saying this, she this, just check what kind of meditation the person is doing. In the first place, whether any meditation is done by the person or not. This question. You're getting it? So again, even if a teacher, philosophy teacher, Buddhist teacher advises a person not to do the practice, the question is, what is the level of the teacher? 10% teacher? 30% teacher? 40% teacher? And so forth. And how many people going to this teacher are benefited? Count that. Not just because he said it, she said it, no. How many people actually benefited? Do you have a real life experiences of the examples that this person was actually going through depression? He went there and the teacher gave some advice and helped, and now he's out of depression. She was going through this. How many such people there? These are how to validate, how to verify the authenticity and the authenticity, legitimacy, right? Okay, so these are the things. So the point is that and then just as the medicine, you should know what dose to take. Even the meditation, what dose to take, you should know. The teacher must be able to, very skillfully able to turn. Okay, do meditation, right? Meditation best, no need to take medicine, the medicine. Do the meditation. For how long? 10 hours. 10 hours, it will kill you. Right? It will kill you. And there was a sick girl. There was a sick girl. And and one teacher said, okay, this amount of reading this text, I'm not going to say, otherwise you will discover who that is. Right? And then, okay, this number of the recitation, the text is a very long text. And the person is so physically so weak, not eating anything, could not eat anything, not getting food, right? So weak. And you do this meditation, do this, the reading of this holy text, right? This number of times at the long text. I already warned right from the beginning. Even dharma, the Buddha taught, enthusiasm of respite. Where your body cannot take it, even dharma, you have to take short rest. Right? Whereas this teacher said, this number of the recitation, then the problem will be over. And I said, never overexert yourself. Be gentle to your body. You must take care of health. Never exert yourself. Even with dharma, don't exert yourself. Right? Your health is number one. With a good health, you can do dharma. I want this. And the next year I met and said that, the girl said that, I collapsed. Why did you collapse? Oh, because I said this number of, I've tried to finish it so fast. I said, never exert. And she exerted and she collapsed. Health just went down. Instantly it went down. Right? And finally that number finished. And instead of healing, it became so worse. Now the girl is on the verge to backbite the teacher. He said that this number of this, the text, my problem will be over. Instead of becoming over, it has become worse. I said, no. I told you already, don't exert yourself, even with dharma. Right? Okay, there are so many things. Okay. So what should we do now? We have only 6 minutes and we have about like 100 and... Okay, so what we will do is that still we have like 5 minutes. We will take another 10 minutes extra, right? 15 minutes, see how much we can cover. Okay, 88. If suffering exists absolutely, why does it not undermine extreme joy? It's like there's suffering, the feeling of suffering and the feeling of happiness. If when you go through the feeling of the feeling of suffering, if that exists objectively, if it's not empty of objective existence, instead of if the feeling of the suffering is objectively existent, then this feeling of suffering should be independent. If it is independent, it cannot be changed by any other factors. If it cannot be changed by any other factor, even if you enjoy happiness, this suffering should last. But the moment the happiness comes in, what happens to suffering? Suffering disappears. When the suffering comes in, what happens to happiness? Disappears. Which means that the suffering is not objectively real. If suffering exists absolutely, absolute meaning, objectively, independently, why does it not undermine extreme joy? When you have the extreme joy, the suffering, why does it not undermine extreme joy? When you have extreme joy, why the little suffering that you have, even if you have the extreme joy, why this suffering not undermine the extreme joy? Extreme joy can overcome the suffering. And extreme suffering can overcome the joy. Okay. And if happiness exists intrinsically or objectively, why does a good taste and so forth not delight someone tormented by grief and the like? Right? Say, with a good taste, good food, okay, somebody is mentally so, they depressed and going through a very low phase of life, feeling so sad over the loss of your mother and so forth. You give good food. This good food is you should be giving a pleasant feeling. This pleasant feeling should be overcoming the mental problem, but no, right? Even the good things, delight, such as good food and so forth, cannot overcome the extreme grief and so forth. 89. It is not experienced because it is overridden by something more intense. Then this is what the opponents say. Opponents say then, no. So for example, when you're going through acute grief, then even if you eat, good food, which otherwise makes you happy, they cannot, because intensity of the grief is so much, then the happiness cannot override it. Okay. How can something not in the nature of an experience still be a feeling? Then say, when you eat good food, is there a pleasant feeling or not? If a pleasant feeling is there, pleasant feeling and unpleasant feeling cannot coexist. Right? Cannot coexist. Okay. So, if you say that this is still a pleasant feeling, eating good food is a pleasant feeling, the pleasant feeling and unpleasant feeling too cannot coexist. Because you are still stricken with the grief. This feeling, the pleasant feeling, even though small, you may call it small, but it's not at all feeling because you can't feel it. Pleasant feeling means it's a feeling. Feeling means you should be able to feel it. 90. Suffering exists in a subtle way. Then the opponents say that, no, it doesn't matter. It is like the example that they give is that, for example, the 10 kg, 1 kg, say 5 kg good food, and maybe a tinge of a poison, a small very, ecstasy, right? A small, poison, you just put it inside there. So the food is delicious, but inside there's a poison. So it doesn't mean that the food is there, poison disappears. No, poison and food can coexist. So therefore, the grief is the overriding feeling there, and a very tiny happiness is also there. This is what the opponents say. It says, 19, suffering exists in a subtle way. Suffering, the pain is, let's say, you are just, you're going through a little bit of the sadness like this, and suddenly somebody gives you a very good news that, right, okay, your mother has come, your mother is now free from all the problems, she has recovered from the illness, she has come to see you, you're so happy, there's the happiness, excess of happiness there, and the suffering that you earlier had, they say the suffering exists in a subtle way, in a small way. What is overriding is the happiness, and what is suffering now you earlier had is now become very small. Okay, so these two coexist. This is what the opponents say. Do you agree with this? That when you have excess of happiness, so much happiness, and the suffering is still there, the feeling of pain, unpleasant feeling is still there with you in a small way. Do you agree with this? Okay. Do you feel happiness or you feel sad? You feel very happy. You feel very happy when you don't feel sad. If you don't feel sad, the feeling of sadness is not there. Right? So therefore, this analogy does not suit. The good food and one just tablet of the poison inserted in the food. You can eat the food and leave the tablet. Right? So therefore, these two things coexist, but the feeling, the pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling cannot coexist. Don't forget it. Okay, this actually does not require any philosophical explanation. This is what we all should be experiencing it. Right? It's your own experience. Right? When you're very happy, hey, are you unhappy? No, I'm not unhappy. I'm happy. Which means that there's no feeling of unhappiness. If there's no feeling of unhappiness, subtle, gross, whatever, is not there. Okay. 90, suffering exists in a subtle way. Doesn't this happiness eliminate only the gross? This is what the opponents would say. So, these gross happiness that you have, it eradicates the gross suffering, not the subtle suffering. This opponents say, but the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra is saying, this suffering is but other form of mere, okay, this is opponent still, the opponent saying, this suffering is but other form of mere happiness. Now they change their position, they said that this suffering, which is a very subtle suffering, now it takes the form of, it's a suffering, but because the overriding the feeling is the happiness, so this suffering takes the form of a subtle happiness, right? It's still a suffering. Okay, there should be no suffering as even the subtle one is of happiness. Now, if this suffering has changed into the subtle happiness, there is happiness, whether subtle or gross is a happiness. So happiness, gross, subtle is a happiness. So therefore, there is no suffering now. 91. But with the arising of discordant conditions, there is no arising of suffering. Okay, now what they say is, okay, never mind. So what happens when you're very happy, earlier suffering that you have, earlier suffering, the discordant factors, which nullifies the suffering, which removes the suffering. These factors arose, but with the arising of discordant conditions, there is no arising of suffering. Now the suffering stops. Well, is it not established that a feeling is something imputed by thought? So therefore we see that this suffering is not really independently there. So with the factors, instantly you can change it. You introduce the discordant factors for the miseries stop. You introduce the factors for miseries arise. So it's just a dependent origination. It's never independent. If it is not independent, if it is dependent, then it can't be objectively real. 92. Because that feeling is not intrinsic, one should meditate on this analysis as remedy. Okay, because that feeling is not intrinsic, one should meditate on this analysis as remedy. So this feeling, the feeling that we experience, feeling of low, particularly when okay, so how many of you are ready to practice the meditation on emptiness of the feeling when you go through happiness, or when you go through happy feeling or unhappy feeling? Most likely what unhappy, right? So you can practice both sides. When you're happy, also try to see the emptiness of the happiness. When you go through the unhappy feeling, you also try to meditate on the. So both, do both. Okay, 92. Because that feeling is not intrinsic, one should meditate on this analysis as remedy. This analysis of the feeling to be empty of objective existence as the remedy to overcome the painful feelings. The insight that grows from the field of analysis and a meditation, and this kind of meditation are the foods of the yogis. Meaning that we survive on food. For the yogis, right? For the yogis, what they emphasize so much is on the meditation, on the emptiness of the feeling. Right? So we eat food for what? For to have a pleasant feeling, to have a good body. With a good body, you have a pleasant feeling, and so forth. So, see, for us, what food is so important? For the yogis, yogis meaning the real yogis, not the, okay, right? Okay, I don't want to go too much there. The yogis meaning somebody who is really going into, yogis means, say, which is very flexible, not just a physical, mental flexibility, right? Mental flexibility to see the emptiness. Okay, somebody going in that direction. For them, the meditation and the analysis of the emptiness of the feeling, that is the real food for the yogis. Okay. Now the next is the, say, how the cause of the feeling is empty of objective existence. 93. If there is a gap between the source and its object, where would they mean? Okay, so these exercises, the analytical meditation, they are very precious, right? Very precious. Never underestimate yourself, right? You at least pay attention to this. At least pay attention to this, and then later on, like-minded people, you can also meet together, discuss on these points. You getting it? Okay. Say, now, the cause of the feeling. Feeling, for example, say, okay, say, let's say the cheesecake. Now, let's say the cheesecake. Okay, say the cheesecake is the cause of the happiness. Cause of the happiness. So the cheesecake is the, okay, say cheesecake, then it comes in contact with the tongue, my mouth, and then say I get a very pleasant feeling. A pleasant feeling is a mental state. Or see the physical happiness, pleasant feeling is transferred to the mental pleasant feeling, and the mind mental consciousness feels the very pleasant feeling. Okay, so this mental pleasant feeling, where did it get the information? Where did it get the information from? It got information from the sensory consciousness. Sensory consciousness. So the sensory consciousness serves as a cause for the mental happiness. So the sensory consciousness, how does it arise? How does the sensory consciousness arise? It arises by three factors. Stimulus, external object, stimulus. Then the sense power. Sense power, like the eyeglass, not the eyeglass, actually it's the sense power. Okay, I don't want to go into this. Sense power. Then number 3, immediate preceding mind. Object, sense power. Like say for example, say you put in the glass, you have the glasses on, then the flower is the object, right? Flower is the object, and your glasses is also one factor. And without the flower, even with the glass, you will not see the flower. So you need the flower. And without the glasses, you cannot see the flower, you may see something different. So you put in the glasses, this is the reason. In glasses, there's glass, the glasses also help you. And then if your mind is, if your mental consciousness thinking something very different, think about it. Even if your eye is right in front of the flower, you don't say anything. So your mental consciousness is also involved. So there are three factors involved. Object, sense power, like the glasses, sense power, and your mental attention, the immediate preceding mind. These three factors are required. With these three factors come together, then the eye consciousness. Yes, there's a flower. Eye consciousness, right? Flower. Eye consciousness seeing the flower arises. So this eye consciousness seeing the flower will transmit the information to the mental consciousness. Mental consciousness. Then the mental consciousness will say, yes, there's a flower there. Right? This is how the informations pass to the mental consciousness. Then it's a flower, I like it, the rose flower, particularly red flower. This is my favorite flower, favorite color. Then a very pleasant feeling comes to you. You're getting it? So for this pleasant feeling, what are causal factors? Primarily there are three. The object, the sense power, and the immediate preceding mental consciousness. Three factors. Okay, now the question is, okay, now we are exploring the emptiness of the objective existence of the causes of the feeling. Okay, 93. If there is a gap between the source and its object, okay, this flower, the flower, and your eye sense power, these two, do they meet or not? Do they meet or not? Okay, so if we exclude this scientific understanding, then we see that the mind, the eye sense power, does not really, there's a gap, physical gap. But scientifically speaking, we see that there's a light there. The light hits your glasses, then it hits the eye lens, and then along with the eye lens, there's the eye sense power. It hits the eye sense power. So the light which represents a flower, the light coming from the flower, it comes in contact with the eye sense power. You're getting it? Eye sense power. Now, these two things, the light, okay, say for example, the smell, the body may be easy, right? Okay, body may be easy. Okay, let's say, so this emerges from the water. I touch it. Oh, it's cool. I get a cool sensation. Cool sensation, right? Cool. So there, object, the cold object there, and my sense power, touch sense power, the body sense power, comes in contact with the cold object or not? Hey. Yes. Okay, it comes in contact with the object. If it comes in contact with the object, so one, the object, then the sense power, and then the immediate preceding mind. If my mind is not at all directed towards there, if I'm thinking about something else, so obsessed, so focused on something else, I don't know what is happening here. Whereas I focus there, my immediate preceding mind is directed there, then the body sense consciousness arises saying that it's cold. Getting it? Okay. So there we see that there are three things, three causal factors. So now, if the causal factors, they exist objectively, the object, the cold object, it exists objectively, and the sense power exists objectively. These two are physical. If these two are physical and objectively existent, you should be able to find it. If the mirage were to be water, well, I know those close to the mirage see water. So likewise, you have to, if it exists objectively, this cold object should be findable. Going towards the object, you should be able to find it. And finally, what should be, if there is something there, you should be able to find the partless particles. With the physical things, if it exists objectively, finally what should be findable is, it should be findable as partless particles. Okay. Now, partless particle here, object and partless particle of the sense power, these two things, do they meet or not? What's your, huh? Oh, if they don't meet, then they don't know each other. If they don't know each other, they cannot give rise to the, it is like, say, it is like my eyes are wide open, but the flower is not there. Right? I don't see a flower. So only your sense power should meet with the object. With the touch is very easy. We should meet with the object. If they don't meet, then it is like without the object, the sense power alone is left. With the sense power alone, three factors are missing. Without the three factors, the touch sense consciousness cannot arise. Right? Touch sense consciousness cannot arise. If they meet, there's a problem. If they meet, then they say okay, somebody has a coin. Okay, no, taking out will take another 2 minutes. Okay, we have to save some time. Okay, what is this? It's not a coin. This is more distraction. It's very nice. What is this, by the way? Okay. Okay. Okay, let's say. Now see, this is the cold object, partless particle. This is let's say this partless particle, the coin, this first coin, partless particle of the partless particle of the cold object, and this is the partless particle of the sense power from my body. And if they meet, if they don't meet, it is like the sense power separately left, right? Without this. And just with the sense power, it cannot give rise to the sense consciousness, touch sense consciousness. So, in order to have this touch sense consciousness, the three factors should be there. Three causal factors should be there. Object must be also there. So, only if they meet, then it makes sense. If they meet, this is what the opponents believe as a partless particle. This is what the opponents believe as a partless particle. They meet. If they meet, there's a problem. Why problem? If they meet, is there a part in this, the first particle? Is there a part which touches the particle B and which does not touch the particle? Are there two parts? If no, then it should be partless particle. If yes, it is not a partless particle. There are two parts. One which touches the particle B and one which does not touch the particle B. Okay, the third coin. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's say now, let's say three particles here. Three particles here, or let's say all these are three same size particles. Now, do you see that there is a part in the central particle, there's a part which connects, which meets with particle A, which does not meet with particle B, and there's a part which meets with particle B and does not meet with particle A. Is there such parts? If you say yes, it is not partless particle, it has multiple parts. If you say no, then you have to say that where the particle B meets with particle A, at that point particle B meets with particle C, then what happens? Particle A and C should meet. Then particle B will disappear. Particle A and C meets. Then however millions of particles you bring, they will all keep conflating, So what you see? Finally you see only one particle. Even if millions of particles you bring, they will only become one particle because they keep conflating. Whereas if they are not partless particles, they are with parts, then they will keep increasing in size. If they are partless, they will never increase in size, they will keep conflating, right? Then the massive mountain size, billions and trillions of the particles, however many particles you try to bring them, they will all conflate and you will just see one partless particle. So this is the contradiction with the conventional world, where you see the massive objects like mountains and so forth, right? And how can this be accounted for if things are made of partless particles? Okay, Zohi, this is your thing. I'm not responsible now. Okay, whose is this? This is Zohi's, I think. Yes, and this is, yes, thank you. This is yours. Okay, now I'm done. Okay, with this, okay, now this is a little technical. If there is a gap between the source and its object, meaning if there is a gap between the partless particle of the object and the partless particle of the sense sources, where would they meet? They don't meet. Where would they meet? They don't meet. If there is no gap, they would be just one. They would mingle. They would conflate. So the meeting would be of what with what? Meeting makes no sense. If these two are one, meet means two things should be there. If they become one, there's no meeting, right? If they're gap, they don't meet. If they're one, there's no meet. So meeting makes no sense. Without the meeting, how can the sense consciousness arise? 94. A particle cannot conflate with another particle, as there is no instance of space, and they are uniform. Okay, let's say a particle, one particle, part is particle, other part is particle. If they meet, they should conflate. As I said earlier, they should conflate. If they conflate, it's totally senseless, meaningless, because for them to conflate, there should be space inside for them to get in. There's no space, right? Both of them are particles, they don't have actually space inside. So, and on top of that, these two are two uniform objects. For example, say this thermos cannot conflate with this thermos because they occupy equal space, right? Space, they cannot they conflate. So conflation is contradictory. 18. When there is no conflation, there is no commingling. If they don't conflate, then they don't commingle. They don't meet. When there's no commingling, there's no meeting. If there's no meeting, then the consciousness cannot arise. If the consciousness cannot arise, feeling cannot arise. 95. Okay. What is your stamina? Can we go till 101? Huh? Can we go? Okay. Those of us who are a little hurry, you have things. By the way. Okay. Okay, let's see. Otherwise, what is the possibility for tomorrow to have the class at, instead of 7:30, at 6:30? What's the possibility? What's the possibility? 7? 7 is fine? Okay, how many of you cannot make it 7? How many of you cannot make at 6:30? Okay, 7 you can make? Okay, then we will do the class at 7, right? And then try to see how much we can finish this. Okay, by the way, if you can finish up to 150, then we're done. Because from 151, it is more like the advice. Advice, right? It's more like the inducing, the intensifying the feeling of compassion to sentient beings by seeing the emptiness of nature. So this is more like it does not require the explanation. From 151 down, we will simply slowly read, right? Okay, so let's see tomorrow. Okay, we'll stop here.